Beneath the soil of Nigeria lies a river of black gold, crude oil, a resource that promised wealth, power, and transformation. But decades after its discovery, that promise remains largely unfulfilled for the millions who call this land home. This is the untold story of how a few powerful hands have tightened their grip on Nigeria's greatest treasure. The unseen kings of the oil empire, the cabal, controlling the wealth of millions for the profit of a few, and how a nation's future hangs in the balance, and dared to challenge an empire built on greed. Aliko Dangote, Africa's wealthiest entrepreneur, set out on a bold mission to break the stranglehold of Nigeria's powerful oil cabal. His dream was to build Nigeria's first private oil refinery and free a nation long held hostage. But standing in his way was a shadowy network of elites who would stop at nothing to protect their golden goose. This is the gripping story of ambition, betrayal, resilience, and the unstoppable spirit of a man who dared to change the course of history. It began in 1956 in a quiet town called Oloibiri. The first drops of oil brought hope, a new dawn for a young nation. But what came next wasn't shared prosperity. It was a boom for a few and bust for many. For over 60 years, billions of dollars flowed into Nigeria's coffers. Yet across the country, classrooms lack chairs, hospitals lack medicine, and homes go dark for days. How does a nation so rich remain so poor? Nowhere is the cost of oil wealth more visible than in the Niger Delta, where the oil is drilled. The land bleeds oil, the rivers die slowly, and the people are left with disease and poverty. They live on oil, yet die with nothing. Nigeria exports crude oil, but imports refined fuel. Its refineries have rusted. Its people wait in endless queues. Billions spent on foreign fuel, while their own machines gather dust. This is the paradox of plenty. With wealth that could create jobs and innovation, Nigeria's youth are instead told to wait, or leave, or hustle. Many are lost to crime, extremism, or hopelessness. Their dreams, like oil, leak into the ground. At the heart of this crisis, a powerful oil cabal, a network of wealthy elites who control the nation's fuel supply. A tight circle of powerful individuals has turned Nigeria's wealth into a private estate. Fuel subsidies inflated, budgets diverted, contracts padded. What should build a nation has built empires. They are not elected. They hold no public office. Yet they control fuel prices, influence policies, and shape national decisions. They are oil importers, marketers, financiers, and their political allies, deeply embedded in Nigeria's economic arteries. Nigeria, an oil-rich country, cannot refine its own crude. The cabal thrives on this dysfunction. They import fuel and build the nation in inflated figures. In 1 year alone, over $6 billion vanished through fraudulent subsidy claims. Every time government tries to reform the system or remove subsidies, the cabal strikes back. Artificial scarcity, blackmail, sponsored unrest. Like dealers cutting supply to a desperate addict, they remind the nation who's in control. They bankroll politicians, fund campaigns, and in return, they secure favorable policies, contracts, and silence. Ministers come and go, but the cabal remains. Presidents try to fight back, but many end up compromised or out of office. Why don't the refineries work? Why has it taken decades to build just one modern plant? Because refining oil locally threatens their empire. Every step toward self-sufficiency is a direct threat to their profits. So they sabotage, stall, sue, and smear. While they profit, the people suffer. Fuel prices rise, inflation bites, power is scarce. jobs vanish. Nigeria remains rich only on paper because the oil cabal drains it dry before the wealth can reach the streets. There was a boy from Kano, the northern part of Nigeria, with a head full of dreams and a mind wired for business. Armed with a small loan from his uncle, the young Dangote began trading sugar, rice, and cement. It wasn't glamorous, but it was strategic. He understood something many didn't. Nigeria consumes heavily, but produces little. Dangote focused on one thing: control of the supply chain. He built fleets of trucks, opened warehouses across the country, and made sure his goods reached every corner of Nigeria. He wasn't just trading, he was dominating distribution, but trading had its limits. So Dangote made a bold move: manufacturing. He began producing what he once imported: salt, flour, pasta, and sugar. Nigeria's dependency on imports was his opportunity to become a national industrialist. Then came the game changer: cement. With billions in investment, he built Africa's largest cement plants. Today, Dangote Cement operates in over 10 countries and produces more than 45 million tons annually. He turned dust into a dynasty. With success came recognition. Forbes named him Africa's richest man, year after year. But Dangote didn't stop. His eyes were now set on Nigeria's most untouchable sector, the one no one dared challenge: oil. While others feared the oil cabal, Dangote prepared for war. In 2013, he unveiled his plan to build Africa's biggest oil refinery, a project many called impossible. But for Dangote, the impossible was just another opportunity. So, the battle began. He needed more than just land. He needed a gateway. Dangote chose over 2,500 hectares in the Lekki Free Trade Zone, Lagos, close to the Atlantic, near deep water, and far from the inefficiencies of Nigeria's aging ports. With a price tag of over $18 billion, the refinery wasn't just a construction project. It was a financial moonshot. Dangote raised capital from local and international banks, invested his own funds, and convinced skeptics that this was more than a pipe dream. He ordered parts from every corner of the globe, some too big for standard transport. One column alone was the length of a football field, the heaviest of its kind ever made. Every bolt, every valve had to be perfect. Then came the building. The refinery wasn't a project. It was a city, an entire industrial city rising from sand and sea. When Nigerian ports couldn't handle his equipment, he built his own deep-sea port. When the national grid couldn't power it, he built a 435-megawatt power plant. Roads, storage tanks, housing, everything had to be created from scratch. He didn't wait for the system. He became the system. Then came the strike, a silent war waged by the oil cabal, cloaked in influence and fueled by fear. First came the quiet sabotage. Vital equipment was held at ports without explanation. Permissions were delayed. Contractors pulled out after strange legal threats. International suppliers were warned, indirectly, to stay away. It was death by delay, a war of attrition. Then came the propaganda. It's a scam. It will never work. It's too big, too ambitious, too Nigerian. The cabal funded whisper campaigns, bought media airtime, sought to kill the refinery, not with bullets, but with doubt. The cabal does not surrender easily. The battle lines were drawn, not in open fields, but behind closed doors, in banks, boardrooms, and corridors of power. This is the story of a fight for Nigeria's soul. A fight between a nation's hope and the guardians of its chains. But Dangote didn't fold. He responded with concrete, steel, and grit. Every time the system pushed him back, he built something new to push forward. Then came a challenge no one saw coming: the COVID-19 pandemic. Borders closed, ports shut down, global shipping froze. 70% of the refinery's parts were sourced from abroad, and suddenly, nothing moved. Entire construction phases were delayed, costs ballooned, manpower was cut. The virus didn't just threaten lives, it nearly paralyzed the project. It took over 10 years, more than $18 billion. Despite every delay, every sabotage attempt, every global crisis, the refinery stood tall. In 2023, it was declared mechanically complete. In 2024, it received its first shipment of crude oil. A new chapter in Nigeria's history had begun. And with that, the cabal lost control. It was the biggest risk of my life. If this didn't work, I was dead, Dangote said in an exclusive interview with Forbes. Aliko Dangote's refinery is more than steel and fire. It is a symbol of resistance, a statement of intent. But the oil cabal has not vanished. They linger, watching, waiting, adapting. The battle for Nigeria's future is far from over. It is a war not just of wealth, but of will. And in the echoes of refineries and boardrooms, one question remains: will the people reclaim the power beneath their feet, or remain shadows in a land of endless promise? The story of Dangote is just one example of vision, courage, and relentless drive in the face of impossible odds. If you're inspired by stories of bold moves, business battles, and the minds shaping the future, don't stop here. Subscribe and explore more powerful stories and business motivation right here on this channel. Your next breakthrough might just be one video away.